A very warm welcome to all the ladies and gentlemen on the show. You're all welcome to another exciting webinar from TeamLease Digital, which we have named it as Digital Convulsions Lead the Way. Having said that, I've got a very elite panelist with me today. First and foremost, I would like to warmly welcome Anitha George, who is head of Celonis, and she's also the India head along with vice president. She's got close to about 25 years of experience, currently working as a country leader within Celonis. She's got tremendous experience in terms of in process mining and execution management technology. She started her career with ITC and then worked with Oracle. Within Oracle, she was instrumental in establishing the ERP cloud practice, taking the team from almost 0 to 500 people. She's worked with different locations, different geographies. Um, uh, Currently, she is based out of Bangalore, and she's passed out from the old NIT college, which we also call REC College, Trichy. A warm welcome, Anita. Next on the panel, I've got Megha Gupta, HR Director of Fiserv. She's got close to about 20 plus years of experience working with different organizations. She worked with US-based IT services, telecom, and in the creative sectors. She is instrumental in setting up organization development, leadership development within the organization. She has worked extensively with teams across the Indian geography, the US, and the Europe. Uh, she's currently partnered with a lot of business leaders on capacity building and future technology requirements. She's also into lot of M&As and designing large businesses in our organization. A warm welcome, Megha, to you as well. Next, we have Mr. Kamal Artwani, HR leader from Rakuten, India. He's got close to about 20 plus years of experience involved in HRBP, strategic HR, talent management, employee engagement, and talent acquisition. He has played a very large role in handling vendor management, merger and acquisition, university relations, and HR operations. Worked with global organizations in diverse domains like in networking, e-commerce, data analytics, and IT. Mr. Kamal is actively involved with universities for collaborating with them for broader studies, career counseling sessions for students, and guest lectures. I warmly welcome Mr. Kamal. And before we actually open the conversation today, which, as I said, digital conventions lead the way, if I was to make an opening statement and I ask Mr. Sunil to come in here, what is the basis of creating the digital employment outlook report?
Okay, so very good morning to all of you. To start with, we were discussing on how the IT employment landscape is changing. We quite often hear about the demand supply gap and industry doing very well. Even the NASSCOM report says that it is poised to double the in overall. But how will all this happen? And then at the base of all this is these are people. Actually, if you have enough people, only then we can grow this industry. And that's where we said let's look at how does the landscape look. From our understanding, or TeamLease, we are projecting that the IT employment will move from 4.85 million to 10 million in next 5 years. And if that's the case, you have a lot of things which we need to address. One, of course, the growth. You definitely need to prepare for a very good supply chain. And second, of course, is the with the growth, attrition also is a major concern. So you need to address both. On one side, the new employment, as well as the other side, refilling the attrition. So that was the fundamental basis on which we thought, let's do a detailed survey. We took a we have done a sample size of around 100 plus. We focused on qualitative survey rather than a quantitative survey. So we decided to reach out to key stakeholders, who are digital transformation leaders, the hiring leaders, and from the industry, with the industry, the staffing and recruitment industry, our peers. We also spoke to them, because at the end of the day, the staffing and recruitment industry supplies does the fulfillment. And we also spoke to a lot of the employees who are looking for jobs, and that's how we were able to get multiple data points, and then we interpreted these data points and came up with all these very great insights. Uh, some of the key words which we often heard during this process, of course, one is the growth, the phenomenal growth. Second is the digital skills, which is obviously the buzzword in the industry. So we heard a lot about digital skills. Then we said, let's dive deep into the digital skills and identify which are the key skills which are actually making noise. So that's how we came up with the 13 skills, which we call them TeamLease digital skills. Then we heard a lot about diversity and inclusion, which has been there in India for quite some time, but it's picking up momentum across. And then we also heard a lot about fresher hiring and fulfillment, plus one very key aspect which you heard about is the contract staffing and gig work. So if you if you look at Indian,
I'll interrupt Sunil now before because I think we have other panelists to talk. I mean,
Yeah.
Thanks for giving the brief. But having said that, now if I was to set the premise of the digital skills going up, my first question to Anitha is that overall, how do you think the technology sector is evolving in our country, especially with the super cycles of digitization?
Yeah. Thank you for the question, Shiva. See, I've been in the IT industry for over 25 years, and I've seen technology evolving. Okay, the basics remain the same, but technology evolved, and somewhere around mid 2000, cloud became very popular. Okay, and with cloud, it became large amounts of data that is available with the onset of the internet. And with cloud and this large amount of data, the whole landscape and the requirements have changed. Okay, now what is important as we see it today is data driven decisions, and all the tools and platforms that support data driven decisions is what is becoming popular. So if you look at India being the hub of the IT and BPM, and statistics show that we are the leaders here in this space. Now, what is important for our workforce is also to keep up to date with what is changing and what is current in this industry. And today we are going into data-driven insights as well as automation to reduce the overall cost. And I see this is a trend that is ongoing in the industry. And all the skills related to the platforms that provide automation, as well as analysis, data-driven decisions, AI, ML, and execution management and process mining. As I see it, these are the categories that are upcoming. And NASSCOM has got this future skills program, and if you see the platforms that are and the skills that are advertised or talked about in this program is what the industry is moving towards.
I'll park this question, before asking to Megha or Kamal, with technology evolving day in and day out. If I was to ask this question to Megha, especially, is that as Anitha has said, technology is evolving around data mining, it's evolving around artificial intelligence, and it's more data driven. And so, how do you think that, coming from a HR fraternity, how do you guys go manage the hiring outlook, within such a changing dynamics?
Great question, Shiva. And see, I think, at the midst of where the world is, and I'll not even say India, at the midst of where the world is, where future is unknown, We don't know. And like, today morning I was reading that, Google has just hold their plans of return to work, while they had announced January as return to work with the variant of Corona coming in. And that's the future of the world, right? Which means, a lot of organization thought that world is going to be back. Imagine Uber would have thought, oh, in Q2 of 2022, we might get our sales back. That would have been their business strategy. Now, with the current situation, that might not be true. And that means the business strategy is no more a 3-year planning as well, but maybe a 6 months planning go forward from an organization standpoint. Now, what does it do for the business? Sales overall is unplanned. Even no matter what's your business strategy, it's still, depend on how the market is today. And the future then holds is, can we look internally, and what Anitha said, automate our current set of processes. That's one side of the business, to say, oh, we may not depend on our sales or the revenue margins, but let's think about what can we automate, get more efficiency, get more cost, bring our costs down through multiple sources. So that's the first business strategy from an HR that you would go and talk to your business leaders to say, let's think about automation as a big thing and hire for those skills, to say, okay, if you were using legacy skills, how can we automate those legacy products that we have within the organization? So that's the one part of the HR that you would focus on. The second part of the business is, oh, we know that these clients are 5 to 10 years. That's not going to go. The business is more, driven as per what you do. It's either SLA driven, or it's really around, products will continue, or it's really about providing support. That's not going to change. You don't see customers really coming up and increasing their margin line. So you'll just continue with those products. If you can show efficiency, great. If you can't, continue and say, this is just a strategy that's going to retain for next 2 to 3 years or 2 years. Continue and fuel your talent in those particular skills that you have. Even think about internal mobility, which also brings down your costs. You think about, if you make a professional to a manager, even if you give 30% hike to him internally, hiring somebody externally will have 60% of that cost. Training that person to make that person productive is a long cycle, right? So I think the strategy has now moved towards more and more building the talent within the organization and hire at the start of the career. That automatically brings down the cost for the organization.
I'll come back to you, Megha. I mean, two things that are evolving is that one of the industry leaders saying that technology is going to evolve, it's going to be more data driven, while you are saying that organization needs to be more resilient in terms of building the cost structures or building talent internally. Kamal, if I was to ask this question to you in terms of, I will mix this question and ask you, saying that with the changing or evolution of technology, will there be evolution of talent as well? And do you second the thought of Anitha and Megha as well?
Absolutely. I mean, you asked me two questions together and a tough one, right? But yeah, I look at it the same way, right? We are looking at people who could come and make data-driven decisions. They're analytic in their thought process. I'm today, when I'm hiring somebody, they might be from a technology background, a software engineer, right? But I'm looking at that analytic skill, data skill, and in addition to that, they should understand the business context well, right? Like Megha mentioned, we talk about, they should understand how the product line is evolving, what are the margins that we'll make out of the product. Is it feasible for me as a manager or as a department head or as a product manager to hire a set of people who will add value, and will I get the ROI by getting these people in, right? I know because of the talent scape or talent market that is going around in the last 6 months, the hiring cost is going up big time, right? The resource cost is going up big time. But still, how do we keep it in control? I agree with Anitha, where we are making a lot of data-driven decisions, but a lot of automation is happening. And again, what Megha said, I second that, where I would like to mentor somebody internally and make them a manager from an individual contributor by giving them a 25-30% hike, rather than hiring somebody from the market with an 80% hike, right? So individual internally is happy, right? And externally, I'm beating the market. And, by having proper succession plan in place, obviously at the lower end of the spectrum, when I get the pyramid below, I would like to hire people from, campuses. What I'm doing from the last 3-4 years at Rakuten is, I have a strong internship program, which is running, where we take 100 to 150 interns every year in January. put them on the job and we evaluate them on the job. By June, July, we are in a situation out of 150, we take 100 people internally and convert them as, software engineers or, starting level analysts, right? So these are the few things that I look at.
So if I was to, in continuation to our discussion, if I was to go back and correlate saying that the technology is is evolving or it's changing on a day-to-day basis, with the other leaders saying that we need to be more resilient, change the way we are operating, and you are saying that we need to bring in more programs. But having said that, if I was to go back and ask this question to Anitha once again, which are the digital skills that you think that are going to be in demand for hiring?
So I think, the skills that are going to be in demand are, like Kamal said, it is a combination of skills. Okay, so the first thing is anything to do with data analysis, and analytics, data-driven decisions is going to be a key requirement. This coupled with business knowledge. Okay, so this is where when I was addressing a group of engineers, so they asked me or group of students, they asked me, are the skills, the jobs available only for computer science engineers? No. It is not that the jobs are available only for computer science engineers. But today, where IT and the BPM market is headed, is that technology is becoming more and more user focused or end user focused. Okay, and using technology, anybody can learn to use technology. Okay, but what is also important is knowing the business where you're going to apply the technology. So is it going to be in manufacturing? Is it going to be in banking and financial services? Or is it going to be in healthcare? Knowing that, applying technology to it. So it's a combination of both of the business knowledge or the domain knowledge along with technology that is.
Sorry to cut across. My question specific was which are the skills pertaining to digital skills? Do you think that will it be artificial intelligence or would it be machine learning? Which should be cyber security? Because every industry needs a different set of digital skills. But if since you are one of the industry leaders, what do you think? At least 2 or 3 skills that you think?
Yeah, I think process automation. Digital security, cyber security, as well as analytics is going to come out on top. In terms of what one area that my company deals with is going to I believe going to be something revolutionary in the IT and BPM space is process mining and execution management. Okay,
can you throw a bit light on process mining?
Yeah, so process mining is we've all heard about data mining. We try and get insights from data. Now process mining is that when we extract process information like a sequence of events as they happen across IT systems, we extract the information relating to these events, and then we pass them through a process mining algorithms, and we get a complete map of how our business process, a company's business process, or any process runs end to end. Okay, now with the information that the process mining tool extracts, we're able to pinpoint where there are execution gaps. How long is it taking from one step to another step? Okay, and this becomes very critical if you want to overall improve your business processes.
Got it.
Whatever be it.
Megha, your
question to Anitha on the follow-up question on this. So it's a very interesting field and skill what you're speaking about. But as per you, do you think we have enough talent available to meet your requirements, or is there anything we can do about it?
I think that definitely there is not enough talent available, and what we are doing is that we want to get our technology across to all these students who are going to pass out from the engineering colleges and the B schools. so that they come equipped with using this technology and then, creating this digital workforce. So we have to create, these skills in the market. And of course, like, Megha alluded to, the existing employees in the organization also can be trained. That is one thing, that we're looking at, in addition to, creating a new workforce itself.
Megha, your views on this, please, on the skills,
So I'll say,
especially
Shiva,
in the financial services.
yeah. So I'll say, Shiva, we have been hearing about the talent supply gap, whether it's the current skill 5 years now or it's the future skills. I think there is a huge gap between what organizations are looking for to what is available in the talent. It's not a new story. I think we have been talking about it 5 years, 10 years down the line. And with acceleration of technology in the pandemic, I think there is a more shortage. Now, over top of it, there is a great resignation across the globe that's happening, and not just India, but US, UK, everybody is facing that, right? So that's going to lead into a lot more, skewed curve, where talent is going to demand high price if you really want a ready-made talent. And that's where organizations will have to start about build versus buy strategies, my take.
How about you, Kamal?
Yeah, I second Megha quite a bit, right? And what Anitha also mentioned, that we are also talking to a lot of universities to see how a lot of things that we need on day-to-day job, they are upskilled during their education itself. So there are people coming from engineering colleges or management graduates. So we're trying to add some things to the curriculum. And when I'm on the board of studies of a couple of universities, I normally take this back from the industry, because this is very important, right? It will not just help the industry in the organizations which have development centers in India. I know out of say 100 companies across the globe, 90 companies have a development center in Bangalore or anywhere in India, right? So we have the talent, we need to make them ready. And it will also help the larger community as an IT industry, where companies are looking at contractual staff as well. And earlier there were situations where contractual staff was available. People used to keep bench strength. The organizations used to maintain a lot of bench strength. And that is not possible now because of the current scenario, right? So when larger organizations look at talent from a services perspective, they also look at talent which is readily available for them. So I would also want and put this thought across to all the other organizations, that they also work closely with the colleges, educational institutions, universities, to make the candidates industry ready.
So just, I mean, I'm getting very interesting, what do you call, messages from the industry. One is that technology being evolving, industry being getting ready, and certain digital skills will be there for next 5 years. Now you are saying that, you're talking to academia for ensuring that the future talent is readily, what do you call, employed. That's one of the great thing to do. But having said that, now I've got 3 people from, or we have 5 different people. 4 people are from different industries. Anitha comes from a different industry. Kamal, you come from a different industry. Megha, you come from an industry. Sunil and myself come from the other side of the industry of services. But having said that, which industries do you think that you will see a boom? Kamal, this question is for you. Then probably I will pass it on to Anitha next.
See, frankly, I would see e-commerce going up big time, right? And digital banking going up big time, because today, when I am talking to my colleagues around or any employees around in my organization itself, they say, who has got the time to go to a mall and buy stuff, right? Who has time to go to a bank and do banking transactions? So these are the 2 major pain points that I see. Everything is going digital from these 2 perspectives, fintech obviously, and e-commerce followed by it, right? So these are the 2 industries that I see that are going to pick up big time, where we will need a lot of people digitally ready to give us that experience, right? As a customer, I would like to get that experience of being in a mall, right? So how you're going to create this virtual thing into a very, very consumable fashion is something that companies will focus on, and that's the kind of skills that we would like to hire from the industry.
Anitha, your views on this?
Yeah, I think I echo a lot of what Kamal says. There is going to be, because we're all thrown into this, the situation where there is, the need to do everything remote. So sitting in your homes, are you able to buy things? Are you able to conduct business? Are you able to analyze large amounts of data and make decisions while being in this disconnected, virtually connected but physically disconnected world? Okay, and it's the skills that enable this that are going to be current.
Your views, Megha?
I'm going to say something that no one of us represent here, but I think.
But before you say, since both have said e-commerce, I think probably both are shoppers. So on a lighter note.
So I shopped while we were talking, but but I'll say medical healthcare research. I think those would be the most revolutionary industry that pick up. Now, who thought about, going to doctors online when pandemic was happening? I did when my entire family was in Corona. Our entire 15 days consultation was on video, right? We always thought of going to the doctors, doing that. But I think the biggest revolutionary and, even the healthcare industry is being talked about in terms of the amount of investment every single country is putting in. I think that I feel is going to be the topmost when it comes to looking at how the industry is today to how it's going to be digitally transform itself in next coming 2 years.
So what I'm getting is banking, e-commerce, healthcare are going to be the top industries where digital investments will happen. But I think in my view, a lot of things will also happen in manufacturing and education sector as well, because that's where.
Yeah, education we missed. Education big time. Yes. Look
I
at
think,
Byju's, like 5 the acquisition in a year.
Yeah. See, I think it's very important today that every industry vertical is enabled digitally, because that is what, because we have to be virtually connected. Okay, and so technology is now playing a much bigger role in every aspect today. Earlier, when it was face to face and physically you could be present, you did have to rely on technology so much. Okay, and that is the paradigm shift that we are seeing today.
So I'll ask a follow-up question, because I want these inputs to come from Sunil as well, because we're always taking the beating from other side of the table. But having said that, Sunil, what's your view in terms of how should the industry be ready for this talent supply gap?
Yeah, so much of that has been spoken. All three of them have given their insights on what are the challenges they are facing. But from the the other side of the table, we feel that there is no one approach or one model to fixing your supply chain issues, the people supply chain issues. I think we strongly believe that build, buy, and borrow. All three needs to be all the three modes are to be should have enough say in it. You just cannot build by hiring freshers and lateral hires. You cannot just keep buying or keep hiring new talent. As Megha said, when you go to shop for new talent, they come at a premium, because there is a great resignation and there is a huge talent war happening. And and the third is borrow. You do have a lot of staffing organizations like TeamLease, where we can supply trained resources. We also have a product, high train and deploy. If the organizations come to us and say that we have a consistent need for XYZ skills, we do train them and place them, and we take care of their initial 6 months or 1 year, and later on we are okay to transition them to the on-roll employees once you see they are performing well. So I think to answer to your question, Shiva, I think we have to depend on all three. Very interestingly, in the Indian market, the contract staffing space, which is a borrow space, is picking up. If you look at US market, it is 18% contract staffing to the total employment. In India, in IT sector, it is just 3%. So we have a lot.
I'll come back to you on that for just a second, but since you named contracting and what Sunil is also saying that since we take the beating on the other side, but if I was to put this question to Kamal, especially since you said, you are accepting contracting, or you're seeing industries accepting contracting. But what do you think generally organizations will have to do to, attack this, or, to ensure that they tackle this supply demand gap?
See, there is no one thumb rule that I can say. It's a mix of
I haven't
solutions.
leaked the answer paper. Everybody's saying the same thing.
Right. So from my perspective, what we are doing at Rakuten is one is, as I mentioned, universities and colleges. And I have come up with a very, very conscious effort from the last 2 years to increase our contract staff to about a 10 to 12% of the current headcount of the organization. So why we do that is because, you have to be ready for contingencies, right? And obviously this talent pool which is there is available for, organizations who have global development centers to mitigate that contingencies. So we started at 0%, frankly, 4 years ago when I joined Rakuten. And then today we are at about 7 to 8%. I want to bring it up to 12 to 13%. That's the plan that I have. And I see that happening with other organizations around when I speak to my colleagues in the industry. So all these small efforts are leading to a situation where we as HR, we as an organization are ready for this talent war.
So Kamal, if I was to pass this question again back to Anitha, so three elements, what coming from Sunil or Kamal is that, build, buy, borrow, or, talking to academia, or he's also saying borrow concept. Do you think only these two things will be sufficient to handle the supply gap that the industry is going through?
See, I think that, so I have worked in a model where there is 15 to 20%, contract staff, because this gives me that elasticity. Suddenly there's a new project coming in and I need to scale. I would look at, support in terms of contract staff. And, the other thing, of course, the labor laws here in India say that, more than a certain 2 years, if somebody is delivering something very core to you, you cannot keep them as contract staff. You need to, hire them. So this is also something, that we have to work with. And contract staff is also, I've also used them for the support functions, a lot for the support functions. They come in and do the work as required. If I need some niche skills, which are not core to my business, but I needed to deliver a particular project, okay, then I go in for contracting. So I think it's a very, available, very flexible option that I would leverage, and I will continue to leverage. But having said that, whatever is core for me to deliver my business, I would like, to be independent and have that skill with me, and I will do what is needed to build that within the organization.
So I think before I pass this question to Megha, with three industry leaders saying that, borrow will definitely be one of the options for handling the supply gap. But Megha, don't you think products like reskilling, upskilling, or hire, train, deploy, or any other model that you think has to be brought by the industry as a practice, and that has to be coached and mentored so that it becomes a natural way of hiring this, or handling this talent supply gap?
I think, again, it's about the hardcore business to say, where do you want to go, right? The same example of saying, if you're completely, into disrupting the business, you would want to keep something within the organization, because you also don't know as an organization what's going to come forward. But if there is a skill that you want to automate, think about it. Would you want to borrow, ask the borrower team to automate for you, reduce the manpower, or bring the efficiency, bring down the cost, and then, maybe get it back after 4 years? That's another strategy that we never think about. The third strategy is, of course, completely a model that's not going to change. It's going to be at a set pace. Just borrow it through an external vendor, and you sort it. You don't have to do it. You don't have any headcount or operational cost aligned to it, which is related to real estate or shared services. So that's a good model. But it totally depends on where your organization and where is your business strategy. I don't think so one size strategy fits all. I think it's about having multiple options and decide what business that you are doing it, what's the future of that business, and aligning that strategy. I don't think so you can completely go as saying that, oh, I'm going to completely borrow it, or I'm going to completely keep keep it insourced.
I would like to
I think it's a
rephrase.
combination.
I would like to rephrase this question, and sorry for interrupting because I thought it was necessary to interrupt. See, every organization today, may it be Anitha, or might be Kamal, or yourself, or what we're going through, uh, across industries, across different sectors, especially in the IT space, everybody is looking for digital. I mean, there's no end to digital because we have seen hiring trend going up to 48 to 50% in few of the customers, especially on the digital skills. So specific questions to digital skills is that what are the steps that you are taking? Like Kamal has said, he's talking to academia for his organization. Anitha has said that she is talking to borrow concept in her organization. What are the different methods that you are using to, what do you call, handle this talent supply gap?
Multiple models, Shiva, and to keep it short, one is obviously training freshers, which is, talking to multiple campuses, changing on who we hire, going to the tier 1 campuses and really hiring, key skills, and looking at a 6 months to 1 year trainee program so that we can train them on the new digital skills. Second is, of course, very, very high on the internal mobility. How can we reskill within the organization? And third, of course, we, as an organization, we always keep an eye around how can we automate, even when we talk about digital skills within the organization, how do we more and more automate to think about, leveraging our people that we have from legacy skills to obviously doing something very different and unique.
Yeah, I mean that's a very interesting insights what I'm getting in terms of from the industry. But having said that, since everybody are very positive about borrow concept or the contractual hiring, I would like to skip that question because that gives us a very positive sentiments and positive vibes and goosebumps for people like Sunil and myself, is because the contractual hiring is definitely going up. But having said that, industry today is going through a complex problem of diversity hiring and women hiring, especially across. So how do you think, my question this is to Anitha, how do you think the industry is going to, or what are things that you are doing to handle this gap?
Yeah. So, see, diversity has always been, a talk, and what I've seen is that diversity is not a problem at the entry level. Okay, so when we go, and especially in the IT industry, in the past, 10 to 15 years, when we go to campuses and hire, we get an equal number, almost an equal number of girls and boys, who come in. But as they progress in their careers, somewhere around a 5 to 8 year experience, we see a lot of the girls dropping out, to take on additional responsibility at home or family, and this is where we see the gap. And I think what I've been doing is to try and have programs to enable women to come back to work post a break. Okay, because this is very important to get them equipped, give them the right amount of training, and give them that opportunity to come back at the same level that they would have been in had they continued to think. So if there is a delta skill that they need to pick up, can we pick them up, give them a kind of accelerated path? Because you take a 5-year break and you come back and all your entire peer group has moved up. Okay, and for you, reporting into them could be a problem. So we need to enable them, give them that accelerated path. Okay, and besides that, for any role that we are hiring, is it possible, if you have a man and or a candidate with diversity, you have the choice between both. Can you always look at a diverse candidate, provided that all other skills are equal? Okay,
Your
so
views, Kamal, on that?
I second Anitha on that, right? So at an entry level, we see a lot of intake. But yeah, for various reasons, as the career progression happens, and at a leadership level as well, I'm seeing very, very few, right? As technology leaders today, when I start hiring or looking out in the market, I normally just get 1 or 2 resumes, which are very, very, it's a very sad thing to see. But yeah, I mean, that's the fact. And we have to take steps to see how we can enable them to reach that level, which might take some time. We are taking our steps for, that we have come up with a very, very unique thing, a return to work kind of a concept, where people, women employees have taken a break from work. We give them opportunities to come back, and we drive a special program for that.
I have a follow-up question, Kamal and Anitha, on this diversity and the programs what you are all doing with the work from anywhere concept picking up post pandemic. Do you see a increase in the number of applications under these programs? Because as Anitha earlier explained, diversity has always been a key focus for the IT industry. But however, if you look at the statistics, only 32%, 33% is the diversity, percentage overall employment to the overall employment. So will it change in the new landscape with so much of a demand supply gap? And as you all alluded that there are a lot of women employee who start their careers, but because of various reasons they take a career break. So with this work from anywhere, do you see the percentages changing drastically in the near future?
Not drastically in the near future, though, but yeah, in the longer run, as companies and organizations settle into this, hybrid model or a work from home model, gradually it will increase. Should take about a few years, maybe 3 to 4 years, but we should be able to reach 40+% is what I see.
Okay. What about you, Megha, in the fintech industry? Do you see improvement in the same space?
We definitely see improvement in a similar space, but I do want to call out when we talk about diversity, our natural inclination is towards gender, which is women and men, that I think we miss on talking about the huge piece of the LGBTQ community, while organizations are taking space, talking about it, driving campaigns. But I think it has to be built in as your business idea. There is a huge multi-billion-dollar industry waiting for it. While we talk about talent gaps, imagine those are like completely untapped potential talent that we have. Imagine, while we're hiring from campus, if we just focus on that particular diversity, train them, create that environment for them within the organization, I think you have a ready talent sitting out there, which is not being talked about enough, which is not being leveraged enough today.
So my question again to Anitha is that what are the key areas and the digital skills will have an uptake in the future?
So like I mentioned, the skills related to anything related to automation, analysis, data-driven decisions, optimizing business processes, optimizing execution, using the concepts of AI and ML to make automated decisions within your IT systems, and of course along with cloud, the whole need for data security. This would become paramount, because you have to have security of your transactions, security of data to prevent any fraud in this ecosystem. Okay, so this becomes a huge important criteria. Okay, and another point that I would like to mention over here is that today for a company like mine, the ecosystem is very important for me to enable. Okay, by ecosystem, what I mean is all our partners, our implementation partners, and our technology partners, because we thrive, along with our ecosystem partners, both technology and service partners. And for me, for my company to enable them deliver is also a very important part of my growth and my strategy.
Your view, Megha, on this?
I think Anitha said all the skills. So I think if I have to just add, from skill standpoint is not going to be digital, but more around a softer skill, which is ability to take risk and connecting the dots.
I'll slightly rephrase this question, for benefit of time. I know we are just entering the Q&A and I have a lot of questions that are coming in, especially to Kamal, see, because the industry, gone are the days when people used to ask for I professionals, they're asking more for a T professionals, which is you have a base skill plus you have an adjacencies skill at the top. But how do you think that, from a point of view, then I'll go back to Megha and follow it up with Anitha then on this question. What do you think that, the industry should do to prepare tea professionals? I know these outside our syllabus, but I thought I genuinely should ask this question.
Basically, how much industry can do from an organization perspective, or through what do you call an ASCOM, etc., right, is very, very minimal. I would say the owners should go back to people as well when they are taking and choosing their career paths. They just don't decide on one particular skill and then say, okay, we will go in this path, in this path only, right? So today we want them also to come forward, and I'm diverging a little bit here, but yeah, it's not just about industry doing something for the entire community here. It's also for the community to understand what the industry is demanding and needing and change their course of action, right? So and the academia as well has to change their approach towards things so that we come there. Now that is from a base perspective. Now what I recommend for people who are laterally available with us already in the industry, we are doing whatever we can to give them programs to upskill themselves, cut across and understand a lot of other aspects. Maybe some software engineer doesn't have business skills, we coach them, mentor them on that, but it is for them also to come up and ask for things like that, right? So these are a few things that I want and expect the community also to do.
Megha, your views on this?
I think while Kamal spoke about the environment that you create, I think as an HR, I think HR needs to step back. You've seen a lion, right? When he goes and attack a prey, he takes step back. He doesn't completely go and jump. I think it's a time for in HR people to step back. Think about what's going on from a talent standpoint. Think about what's going on from an education standpoint. Think about where the business is going. It's no more something that you were doing for last 3 years is going to make everybody successful. I think it's time to step back. It's time to hear what your associates are saying. Associates are asking, like, say, for example, a hybrid or a work from home. Now, if you go back and implement something else, it's not going to work out for your people. The great resignation is just going to add on to what is happening. Similarly, there are multiple things that, your internal people are asking, your industry is asking. I think it's time to reflect. It's like a clean slate whiteboard strategy that you have to think about. What you've done is something that you've taken to successful organizations today, but it's now to do something very differently than what you all have done. Maybe HR needs to relearn and think about how they're going to really make the business successful in a reality where the future is unclear.
And your view, Anitha, in terms of the HR fraternity saying that they need support from the external world, they need support from academia, they need support from the businesses. How do you think that you coming from a technology background, how do you think you're going to generate T professionals, not the I professionals in your organization?
Yeah, see, I think, there is, one of the key things that even Megha alluded to is resilience and change management. Okay, so the concept of who moved my cheese, and this is so relevant in today's world. Okay, what we were doing in the past, we can't continue doing to be successful. And questions like what will you be doing 5 years down the line seem very irrelevant, because you don't know what is going to hit, because none of us thought there would be something like this pandemic hitting us. Okay, so I think for our companies also, what is important is that we need to constantly evolve, constantly reinvent, innovate, and stay on top of the game. Okay, and for this we have to build the same resilience and the same adoption to change in our workforce. Okay, and another key factor is that, say, when we are hiring new people, we are hiring them remote. They're not even coming into an office space. We're not able to see them. So this is a key challenge for HR. I think, how do you do remote enablement and onboarding? Okay, so important. Sometimes, we have like our traditional brick and mortar companies. We've had a lot of, very, I would say, established HR processes and, induction programs. Everybody's taken, for a period of time, to a resort and, you go through this, team building and maybe a development center. But suddenly, tasked with doing all of this remote and everybody being in different corners of the world. And that has been a huge, change for HR and something that they've had to deal with.
So quite interestingly, what is coming out is that, the landscape, IT employment landscape is completely changing, and everybody has to be prepared from the employee side as well as the employer side, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Now, before we have a brief discussion on our DEI report, one of the key thing what we would be keen, because I passed this question because we are talking a lot about contracting. My question specific to Megha is that, do you think that the contracting or the contracting jobs or contingent workforce hiring within the Indian geography, within the industries, within the IT business, whether it's services or captives or any other industry, do you think the percentage is going to go up? If it's going to go up, what will be the minimum percentage do you think it will take a jump?
Siva, it's a matter of time. With the talent shortage, with the prices going high, India always was not just known for the talent, but also for the cost efficiency for, couple of geographies, right? Now, looking at that lens, I think, people will not have a choice in India, then outsource a couple of products, services, technology, because if they don't do that, they will be enabled to serve, couple of global clients in the same cost that we were doing before. So I think with that lens, I think it will be no more a choice in the coming year. I said 2020 is a time, for 6 months will probably be the way they are, which are 3%. But I think in coming times of next 2 to 3 years, it will fundamentally rapidly grow to somewhere close to 10 to 12% is my guess.
Your view, Kamal, since contractual hiring as per Megha is no more a social taboo, do you think that the percentage is going to go up?
Yes, obviously. And I'm seeing that, as I mentioned earlier as well, when I'm talking to a few of my colleagues in the industry, they are talking about increasing that contractual staffing strength.
And Anitha, if I was to correlate both these things, would you extend contractual workforce apart from your support services, even to do your core services work?
Say, I would, go with this, based on what, my context, my business context is. Because sometimes, when I'm delivering, services to my customers, there is that inherent, requirement that I sometimes have to fulfill, that, all the employees delivering this service are my own employees in the company. Okay. So this having, being kept aside, definitely to take care of the support functions, as well as any add-on requirement which is not core to my business, and also to improve the elasticity of my supply, I would look at contracting options.
Okay, now before we jump to the DER on a lighter note, probably 5 years was relevant during our times. What you wish to be after 5 years, I would say I would like to be your boss. So having said that, on a lighter note, my question to Megha is that what do you think is the, what do you call, biggest takeaway of the DER report that we generated?
I think one of the biggest takeaway, from the study would be, for me personally, and, I'm saying personally, I think it would be the shift that people have started to think in their minds. I think that's a great take from saying, how the mindsets are changing from, what they think the future of the skills, the future of, the gap from a talent standpoint they think about. I think that's the biggest takeaway, I would say. It's the shift in the mindset.
Kamal, your view on this?
It's a shift in the mindset. Totally agree. Short and sweet.
Anitha, how about you?
Yeah, I don't want to say the same thing, so I'll say acceptability.
And interestingly, just to add to that point, Shiva, based on our survey, there was 15% shift from permanent employment to contract employment in the last few quarters. That's very interesting, because this is fast emerging as a choice, for the employees, that how much I should work, and should it be 40-40-40, or should I cut down it to 40-20-20? It's the choice is with them now. Yeah.
I think we have 5 minutes to wrap up. I've got a very interesting question coming from I can't say it's a very interesting question. What are different programs that Megha, this for you? What are the different programs that you are doing for what do you call? One second, I think it's come on a WhatsApp. Yeah, what are the different steps that you are taking to ensure that you give women who have taken career break into employment?
Sure. So as an organization, Shiva, there is a huge focus when it comes to multiple aspects of D&I, obviously not just women, but other aspects as well, gender, race, everything that you can think about. But since this question is specifically to women, I think there are multiple steps that we take. First is, of course, like everybody else, the returning woman program that we do at a full phase to ensure that people after break do come back and join us as an organization. The second piece that we're doing is enabling our leadership layer, which means ensuring that our leadership layer is well trained, and we're doing especially globally across the force a couple of programs specifically at our leadership layer, so that they also become successors for very, very key and critical roles. The third thing that we're doing is a lot work around the mindset and the change management, and I'll tell you what it means. Like today, if we are having a performance management, which we are going through right now, every single performance calibration, every HR partner will go back and push back, saying how many diversity percentage are you promoting, how many top raters are diversity candidates. Not saying that, oh, you need to mandatory have, but that's how you bring in the mindset change in the organization, to start thinking in that lens, to saying, oh, am I doing enough? Have I started to think about pushing the bar towards the other fag end of the organization as well? It's not just hiring which is going to boost the entire model, but how you thinking and building that succession line within the organization as well. So I think those would be three things that I will definitely highlight beyond multiple other things that we are focusing on.
We're short of time, but I'll take three different questions. Question to Kamal is that these also come on my WhatsApp. First, I need to answer these questions. The first question, Kamal, is that since you are working with academia a lot, what kind of partnerships that you're doing with academia in terms of the program? Second is that, is it skill specific or industry specific?
Okay, so there are 2-3 different ways that we are doing this, Shiva. One is that we have the strong internship program where we intake a lot of interns. Now, secondly, I have gone a step ahead right now. There are people who want to upskill themselves, and as I mentioned earlier as well, the community also needs to take some steps, right? So there are students who have reached out to their academia and asked them that, can we upskill ourselves and be ready to go into this organization with these skill sets? So there, skill-wise, we are proposing some trainings, right? And they can take those trainings during their 6th, 7th semester, so that during their 8th semester, when they come for internship, they're actually productive and on the job, rather than coming and expecting during their 8th semester at an intern level that we will coach them and mentor them. So universities are also putting in some funds for specific trainings and skills for students to be ready when they come for an internship. So these are a couple of things that I am seeing that has been happening, and these are some initiatives that I am running with 2-3 universities, and they're really working well.
Anitha, question to you specifically is that how are companies digitizing employee experience?
First thing is that we, in my current company, we have 100% online onboarding process. Okay, so our entire so for onboarding, everybody and the digital. So you're right from your laptop enablement. So you get a laptop that is shipped to you, to your location, home location, and on the day that you start, you have an IT employee connect with you and enable your laptop, configure the whole thing completely remote. Okay. The next thing is that once you log into your account, you will see a list of trainings that you need to do, a mandatory trainings, and these are all recorded, available for you. You track and all the trainings have a, small test or, some interactive mode, so that, unless a person has really listened to the training, you will not be able to answer those questions. So we're trying to ascertain that people take the training seriously. Okay. Now, post this initial, onboarding, the recorded sessions, there is a remote web-based session, and which brings together employees globally across who have joined, and they take them through a series of onboarding trainings, which include team building exercises where they go out into small teams, and we make sure that they learn the product. Any employee coming in at whatever level learns the product and is able to talk and demonstrate the product, to a prospective customer. And I think it has been working beautifully so far. We've been taking feedback, from people, and one of the most positive things that come out is the fact that our learning management system, as we call it, is one of the best. And this is something that the company has focused on right from day one, that anything that we do, has to be recorded and available online.
Megha, this question is for you, since you have quoted, the great resignation way. But I think how are you going to address attrition rates in the workforce, either it's full-time or contractual?
I think it's end to end. There is no easy answer for it, because I think what we saw in the second half of 2021, there is still a lot to watch in 2022. So it's not a simple answer, Shiva, and I don't think so any of us has break the code, I would say. But it's a combination of what culture you create for your employees to rethinking your hiring strategy. I think it has to be multiple sources than just one easy answer. I'll say, as an HR, I haven't easily successful. I say, oh, next year we'll hit 15% or 10%. I think it's a long journey for us to see. We are prepared mentally, it's going to happen, but there is multiple strategies that we're going to implement to ensure that we retain as many people as we can and not bleed the way that we did in Q2 2021.
All right. Thank you so much. I think it was very, very, very heartening to know all of you. And I know certain questions were tough, but I think a lot of people answered it more diplomatically. And it was actually very insightful for us. I thank you and look forward to talk to you, all of you, very soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.